Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Tripp, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, a man who's somehow both a skeleton, a pumpkin, and a witch, the Macho Man Drew.
Andrew Leno. It's so close to being McDonald's Halloween buckets.
It's so really close. Very close. Yeah, it super is, yeah. That's very funny. I didn't think about that until just now, but yeah, that is really funny.
I am the McDonald's Halloween bucket to your Halloween 3 masks.
Yeah, it is back out now. Not promoted by McDonald's podcast, nor are we cool enough to get the free swag in the mail. That
if you want to send us stuff, just I'm happy to take the sweat because the sweatshirts looked cool that I saw.
Yeah, I'd take a bucket. I almost went to get one, and then I just didn't.
So they're doing them in waves.
You went and got one?
I was going to get all three the first day because, like, whatever. But they're doing it in waves. So they're, like, sent one sort of bucket to each sort of area. So my area got the ghost. Uh-huh. And I don't know when they're sending the second. And, like, McDonald's employees don't give enough of a shit to, like...
Yeah. They hate this. This is horrible. Like, you're making $10 an hour, and you have a bunch of foaming at the mouth maniacs coming in and being like, "Where's your popcorn bucket?" You know, it's.
I was like very clear. I was like, how do I want to ask this in a way that's like, I'm not a crazy person. I'm just. So I was like, oh, I saw the bucket. I was like, hey, is that the only one you have? And like, yeah, we just have the ghost. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll have a Happy Meal, whatever. Yeah. And I drove to one that was like 5 minutes away, and I was like, hey, I see. Do you just have the ghost? And the girl, like, didn't understand me, and she was like, they're in a box. And I was like, okay, yeah, is the box just the ghost? And she was like, hang on, I gotta get the manager. And so she, like, walks around the corner and, like, shouts to the manager, and she's like, what's the deal with the buckets? And I was like, that wasn't my question. And then I hear the manager go, it's a Happy Meal. So she turns to me and goes, you have to buy a Happy Meal. And I was like, again, thank you. Definitely know that. Is that box only white? Are there other colors in that box?
So I have taken to, whenever I'm in this situation, my preface is like, look, I know this is stupid, but I have a very specific request that I'm hoping you can fulfill for me. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I'm looking to get one of each of the colors. Do you have, like, be like, hyper specific, and also be like, I'm the weirdo here, not you.
I just figured they would know, like, this box has just white. No, I thought I was being a reasonable questioning, is it just the one color in the box? Yeah. I thought that was a normal question, like an easy to understand question. Because the first one I actually asked, I was like, let me ask, I was like, do you know, like, when they're shipping other one? Like, what's it look like? Because they're only from, like, the 18th to the 31st, which is, like, it's not like, once every Tuesday. There's no obvious. And I was like, this is 12 days. What? And the girl was like, I just started working here like 2 days ago. And I was like, that's fine. That's fair.
I'm a ghost now.
Yeah. So I got the ghost. And I think all the ones in my little, like, region got ghosts because I saw other people got like their area got a bucket. I got the pumpkin first, whatever. But then one random YouTuber somehow got all three at once. And I was like, what?
Maybe McDonald's sent them to him. Yeah, I was like, should I go get the ghost bucket? And then I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I was like, I guess I could put the Halloween candy in it. And I was just like, and I talked myself out of it. Maybe I'll go tomorrow when I get the groceries.
Well, if your area has not the ghost, let me know.
We'll have to engineer.
We can trade. I will buy a ghost for you.
Yeah. This feels like something that they should just, like, have in the app, although I guess that seems like it would be
I feel like that gets dangerous. I have not checked the McDonald's app, but I don't think they have that. They do that there.
Well, anyway, McDonald's, you should have sent us buckets. I don't know why you didn't. This is an 80s movie podcast. Surely this is the same space. I'll tweet at them. I'm gonna do it. I will tweet at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually. I have one of the original three pumpkins, because that's what we have from my mom, from our mom. And then I was in a thrift store like a month ago near me, like a random Salvation Army, and there was another one, the same one of the three pumpkins from the original 80s, McGoblin. And I was like, oh shit, $2 for McGoblin, that's rad.
All right, tweeting right now. Quote tweet. Hey.
At McDonald's.
This is great podcasting, by the way.
We can cut and paste it at the end.
Hey, at McDonald's. Oh, what does an 80s movie podcast need to do to get our hands
on the Halloween bucket PR?
Sweet Halloween bucket promo pack. Done. Tweeted. Retweet that if you see.
There we go.
Okay. Well, we watched Halloween 3, which has nothing to do with any of that.
Commercialism.
You know what that means. That's true, yes. The dangers of commercialism, wasting people's time on their commutes.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your one without Michael Myers. Something's about your one without Michael Myers.
When the mega powers explode.
It's time for crime.
Do not make sense of moves.
Get away from him! Dad, where the hell's the corkscrew?
Halloween.
Wolfman's got narc!
Rest in peace.
So I was like really hoping to do like a hard re-eval on this movie because I saw it once a long time ago.
I couldn't remember if you'd seen it before.
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it once and I was like, it's not very good. I like Tom Atkins. We've talked about him before on the podcast. Yeah, he's a fun, and also like I did see this in a review, just a contemporary review somebody wrote on Letterboxd that I did understand and appreciate, where it's like, this is just some guy from Pittsburgh. Like Tom Atkins is not particularly handsome. He's not particularly buff. He's not particularly great as an actor. I mean, I think he's perfectly fine. I'm not saying he sucks, but he's not like, a world changing, you don't see that guy and you're like, oh, that guy's got the, the stuff. And yet he like got to lead a couple movies, in fact. And it's like, I do miss that. I do very much miss when we could have just like a strong performance from somebody, and that was all you needed. And I'm fine. I've said many times, I want weirder movies with uglier actors that are much, much, much shorter than we have right now.
Yeah, well, because Atkins is like almost 50, but he's early 80s, almost 50, which means he's almost 60.
Yes, yeah. I actually just recently, my wife was teasing me I've been watching Golden Girls a fair bit lately, and she was teasing me about it.
I'm loving the updates, by the way. The sporadic nightly.
It's like every once in a while I'll watch like 2 or 3 episodes and I'll text you, and it's just like, because obviously the Golden Girls was not designed to be consumed into the binge fashion. So when you watch it that way, you pick up things, and it's like sometimes like Blanche will have 3 almost marriages in 6 episodes. And I'm like, how much time is supposed to be taking place?
That's the great mystery.
Episodes?
We don't know.
It's like, it defines it. You never know how much time is.
Well, that's the beauty of Florida. There's no like seasons changing, seasons. So it's always Florida time, baby.
But it's just like, I assume that even at their advanced ages, they want to get, they're trying to like maximize the time they have left on the marriage front here. But then, so anyway, she was teasing me about it, and I was like, what's wild about the show is like they're all except the mother, Sophia, they're all supposed to be in their like late 50s.
Yeah, that's
like
the crazy. They're in their 60s, I think.
Like 58 to 62, I think. I think I found a breakdown. Like one of them might have dipped under 60 for the first season. I don't remember, but none of them are over 65 until the later seasons.
Yeah,
and it was just like, she's like, wait, what? And I was like, people looked different.
The 80s was a different time. I said it before when they announced they were doing a reboot. They were like, "This actress is going to play Sophia," and I was like, "She's young enough to be Blanche." And then I was like, "Oh no, she's not. That's just what age does now."
Yeah. Wait, they're rebooting the Golden Girls?
There was talks about it. They were going to do a black reboot. And they were going to get. I love her, and I lost her. She was one of the original Dream Girls. Jennifer Lewis.
Hudson.
No, Jennifer Lewis. The original.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
She was going to play Sophia, and I was like, she's not that old. And then I was like, no. Oh, wait a minute. No. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Tom Cruise is older than Wilford Brimley in Cocoon by several years.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So, it's just different. I mean, Tom Cruise is taking all sorts of, allegedly taking all sorts of supplements. I'll say it here. He's probably on HGH.
Race car beds do a hell of a thing for your body.
Yeah. Well, it's like they're all on HGH. Like all the superhero people.
They're on a cycle.
They're all on. Yeah. They just dropped the trailer for Creed 3 and, damn it, I'm going to forget his name. The very talented young actor.
Michael B. Jordan?
Probably not that young. Not Michael B. Jordan, the guy who's playing the new opponent in this. He was the lead on.
Whose kid is he?
Nobody's.
Oh, it's finally this is his own.
Yeah. So Michael B. Jordan's actually directing this one, which I'm intrigued by. And the gimmick is this is a childhood friend who ended up in prison, and while he was in prison, just watched him have all the success he thought he deserved, and now he's out of prison and wants to beat him up.
Cool.
Hence they'll box. But the actor is the guy from Lovecraft Country, the lead on Lovecraft Country.
I didn't watch it. You told me it was gross, so I skipped it. I wanted to, but you were like, it's gross. So I said, okay.
Yeah. But he's a good looking in shape guy. I think he's shirtless in Lovecraft Country at least once and is very good, obviously very good looking, good, works out, obviously, great body. And then you see him take his shirt off in Creed and you're like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
It's like you're photoshopped.
Yeah. And it's just you're on HGH. Well, you both are.
Apparently, sure. Marvel heads, the basement dweller Marvel head fans are mad that Prince Namor in Wakanda Forever has more than 5% body fat.
Oh,
there's just
what a joke!
There's a shot of him walking out of the water, and he has a normal human's back, and they're like, "Wow, what a fatty! He's got such dad bod." And I was like, "I'm looking at it motherfucker, where?
Wait, is he the big dude from the other?"
No, Prince Namor is a new character. He's their Aquaman essentially.
Got it. Okay, I saw the trailer, but I don't remember. I thought you were talking about the I can't remember the dude's name, but he
the water tribe
jacked
guy?
Dude. No, the one I thought they were the mountain tribe guy.
Oh yes,
he almost beats the guy.
I know you're talking about the mountain tribe guy.
Yeah, the dude who has he's built like a refrigerator. Yeah, he's massive. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's Prince Namor. He walks out of the ocean, and I'm like, he just looks like a person walking out, and everyone jumped on to clown him and say he was not in shape, and it's like, I guarantee you, he's in better shape than 90% of you commenting this on the internet. So
I'll push that lever to 98%, bud. There's very few people in the shape that Marvel people are in.
Well, there's some cosplayers that are also probably
absolutely, yeah.
So that's why I said 90% to account for that cosplay hot nerd.
I'll push it up. I'll push it up to the top 2% of hot nerds on HGH. Anyway, as you can tell, this movie not very good.
I like it. It's fine.
Deep intention. Okay, so here that's what I was getting at before I got really deeply sidetracked here. I did not like this movie the first time I watched it, and then everybody, all the other podcasts I listen to, people who I follow on Letterboxd, other people who write about movies I listen to, people were like, if you didn't call this a Halloween movie, people would really like this movie. And I just I think it's so slow and boring. It's
I agree that
it feels like a 2-hour movie to me, and it's not. It's 100 minutes.
It's 100, yeah. It's slow, but I agree that I think if it wasn't called Halloween 3, I don't know what you would name it because I don't even.
You could just call it the Season of the Witch, I guess.
But even that, I think is a bad name.
But that's a bad subtitle.
That is a bad name.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
But I think the biggest problem this movie suffered from was the Halloween 3 of it all. But then also because of that, it's sort of it would have disappeared if it had not been called that.
Yes.
So it's been dragged along behind next to the corpse of Michael Myers that we've been dragging for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
That apparently,
and by the way,
despite the ending of Halloween Ends, they're like, oh, we're making more. And I was like,
well, of course they are. I mean, of course.
Yes, but also how?
I mean, they'll just make more movies about Corey.
Get out of here, Corey. No one likes you, Corey.
Okay. I don't want to spend an hour talking about that movie, but part of the reason we're doing this movie
is because of that movie.
Because of that movie. So Halloween Ends came out, and my biggest reaction to the movie is just deep confusion. I was just all of you involved in this who made it Halloween 2018 is very good movie. It's very well done. I think it's too yucky, but that's my own personal taste.
It's not,
but it's
a teaspoon too yucky. And then they got to Halloween Kills, and it was just like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, agreed. But like, that movie's very good and very competent. And honestly, if you just ended that movie with the house on fire and them driving away in the truck, like, that would have been great.
I know.
And then they made Halloween Kills, which is, I think, worse than Ends.
Yes,
But-
I agree. I think Kills is worse than Ends.
But like, it's inexplicable. The thing that it's like, yeah, I know a bunch of people are like, in 10 years, you're going to be like, oh, it was doing something different and interesting. Like, I really disagree. It's not compelling. It's like a bad Lifetime movie for an hour and 10 minutes. And then they're like, oh, by the way, Michael Myers is in this movie. He's living in a sewer and missing a bunch of fingers.
Yeah, it's...
Also, I don't remember how that happened, but they kept showing his hand.
Yeah, I think...
as if to be like...
Oh, you know what? I think he got a slicey slice.
Okay.
That's the first movie. I don't know when in the second movie he got a slicey slice.
Yeah, it's like, I remember they fight him all the time, so it's very possible, but they kept showing his hand, like, oh,
I also forgot that
I was just like,
Judy Greer. I forgot she died in a previous movie, and so she was like,
she dies like seconds before the
it's
credits roll on the
11:59
kills.
50,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, we forgot to kill her.
Yeah. Oops.
I was like, oh, god damn it, I forgot. I'd love Judy Greer.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a huge fan. And there's no way to say this sentence without sounding like a sarcastic asshole, but like, I hope that this is what Jamie Lee Curtis wanted, because like, of all the people involved in this, she was the most bought in still.
Yeah.
She's still showing up and she's still in the movies and performing, like, because she could very easily have been like, I don't want to do this anymore. Go have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
I give my blessing. There you go.
Or that she comes back and is like, sure, but you're going to kill Laurie like she did in H2O or
the one after
the one
that.
After that. Yeah. Like, she could easily have done either of those things. So like, she clearly was invested in this. And part of that is probably the bigger picture of hard to get roles for women her age. And I don't want to go down that road.
Although she's of the echelon of not a problem for her.
Yeah, but she doesn't. I mean, it's like her and Sigourney Weaver in that category, and still both of them, you don't see them as much as you would want to, I feel like.
Although Jamie Lee's had a decent couple years, because there was Knives Out, she did that, the other multiverse movie. Yeah. She got these.
Yeah. No,
Freaky Friday.
She's doing fine. This clearly has raised her quotient, and she's getting more work, which is great. But I just like, there's a weird thing with this movie because it was such an important part of her career, and she's obviously been very loyal to it because of that. And it's just like, this is it. Like, there's two scenes in the movie where you're like, okay, this is cool shit you're getting her to do. The part with the jack-o'-lantern in the office, and that's all I'll say, not to spoil things. And the
I
part
truly
in the kitchen,
think from that office sequence to the end was when she was like, this is what you're putting in the movie. Do whatever the fuck else you want.
Yeah.
Also, Laurie's writing a book. That's what we're getting.
Yeah. Yeah. With the advent of the true crime, I feel like Laurie's book is 10 years overdue.
Yeah, Laurie would have written like 4 books by now.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, it's completely inexplicable.
Because Halloween 2018 is the podcasters, right?
Right.
Which, like, yeah.
But it is a movie that I genuinely feel is like made in an inexplicable fashion. Like, who chose to make it this and why? I don't understand at all.
Yeah. I hated the first 10 minutes, like abjectly hated it. And then it's an hour.
I kept being like in the first 10 minutes, like, oh, Michael's in this attic or something. Or like, oh, Michael's in this thing. And it's like, oh no, this is just something. And I saw the shot where they were like clearly being like, oh, this is like Michael's protege or whatever the hell. And I was just like, God, give me the strength to get through this next hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes I hated. An hour I thought were fine, I guess. 10 minutes I hated. And then 20 minutes I liked. So I don't know what the average of that would be. A C-, I guess.
Yeah, I'm way lower than that on that movie. That's a solid 1 out of 5 for me, like 1.5 because of the Jamie.
I'll give it a
Curtis
2 out of 5.
In the kitchen. Yeah, but anyway, we should talk about this movie because we are now approaching 20 minutes, depending on how long things get cut out. So,
the story of this movie is that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill never wanted there to be more Michaels. Like, their idea was like, oh, we'll make an anthology. Every movie will be a different, like, spooky thing happening on Halloween. which is cool. I like that idea, except the studio and Mustafa Akkad were like, but what if you made one more with Michael? And they're like, I guess. And then we'll let you do your thing. And I'm like, no one thought that, like, that's not the move.
Right.
You got to do the anthology and then be like, oh, you know what? We'll call back. We'll have another Michael. That's how they do it for American Horror Story. It's unique. And then a few seasons in, they're like, oh, call back. Remember that? Hey, this is fun.
Yeah, I honestly think even if they had done this movie as the second movie titled Halloween and then they went back to Michael Myers for 3, the same problem would exist.
Probably, but there's more. It's more open to then like explore. Like maybe all the odds are gonna be Michael movies, and then the evens can be weird shit. I don't know.
Yeah. It is frankly never gonna work either way. And we did Halloween 2. We did a full review of that on here. We've done what 1, 2.
We did one, right?
4. Yeah, we did. No, we haven't done one.
Oh, because one is now part of the. It was recently annexed.
Yes. So look forward to that next year when it's 35 or 40, 55?
No, 45.
45, yeah. 55. So look forward to that next Spooktacular. But so we have this weird little duck here, which is called Season of the Witch, even though it's not really clearly witches, even at the part where they explain that he's a warlock with like 10 minutes. It's like we are running. The plane's wheels have come up. The front wheels are up and the back wheels are still in the ground, or vice versa. The front wheels are down. The back wheels are still in the air, landing this movie, and to belabor this plane metaphor. And he's like, oh, by the way, I'm a warlock. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
When did that come into play?
I think it needs a little tightening up because there's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
But overall, like the structure and concept is interesting. It just needs some tightening, like every other movie we've done.
Yeah, yes, pretty much. Our the retitle the subtitle of this podcast to be "There's a good movie in there somewhere,"
hidden in there. But I think this movie is better received if you don't go into it thinking of it as a Halloween movie.
100%, yeah, and you call it, something like SIL-VER SHAM-ROCK, or that's also
every time I try to think of one, I was like, SIL-VER SHAM-ROCK. No, no, it's not that. Stonehenge, no.
Yeah.
Computer magic, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they wanted to. The Halloween is a good title for this movie.
Yeah. Halloween
if Halloween didn't exist, if you were to call this movie Halloween, it would be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Or the Halloween
Trick
3,
or Treat,
because that's what the masks are called in universe, the Halloween 3.
Yeah. That is very cute when they wink at you in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
But so we start with some badass John Carpenter score. This is
some LexisNexis pumpkin titles.
Yes, yeah. But this score bit reminds me a lot of Escape from New York. It's
okay.
It's the funkier end of the synth, I think, than the more dreadful, ominous tone that he uses in Halloween. So this is actually it was fascinating. I watched this movie and then Scream. I think either in 2 days apart or 3 days apart.
Wait,
and both
of
those
original
movies,
Scream or 5 Cream?
Scream, 96. And both of those movies use Halloween in the movie. So there are characters in the movie watching the movie Halloween, and then the score from the original movie is playing in the
universe.
Yeah. So I think that's a really funny and under talk. I mean, not under talked about at this point. There's probably a podcast just about this, but the climactic part of Scream towards the climactic part of Scream when David Arquette's searching the house, he's doing so to the score from Halloween, and it's such a great cheap pop because it's great music, and you just get to you couldn't just be like, oh. Right. You couldn't just I'm going to just use that score because it's good. But people are like, what the hell? No, you can't do that. But by making your characters watch the tape, it's like, oh, no, this is fine. The movie's just on. Yeah. So now I can just use it.
Well, did I tell you the crazy, crazy weird thing that happens if you think too hard about Scream and Halloween? So in Scream 1, they watch original Halloween. And so because all horror movie directors like to lob it back and forth in Halloween boarding school, whatever that one is.
I think that's H2O.
Maybe. In that one, they're watching Scream 2 or 3, and it's like,
really?
Yes.
It would be Scream 2, not 3, because
then they're watching Scream 2 because I think it's the moment when Buffy gets pushed out a window or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, hang on. If they're watching Scream 2 in a Halloween movie, can they watch Scream? Does the universe just like
yeah, that don't
rip
work.
itself apart? It's like the 2 boxes on Futurama.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They had to like
pull the box inside out to fix it.
Yeah. That is funny. So we've got some great Carpenter score here, and we've got Austin Powers-esque like steamroller squishing a guy, where these two men are struggling, and the one pulls the chalk out of a wheel of a car, so it starts to roll forward, and the guy who's choking him just slowly turns and watches this car rolls 1.2 miles an hour into him, and then he's like very hurt by it, which is very strange to me.
It's also weird because I thought he was straddling him, and then he gets squished by the car, and the guy's able to like wiggle away, and I'm like, I don't know how much wiggling you doing.
I assumed he like had to do like a snake wiggle with his elbows to like come out of the crotch area of the guy. My favorite part of this movie is the Carpenter score. 1 is great, which you could say the same about those new Halloweens. It's Carpenter and his
The Shape Hunts Allison. It's so good.
Yeah. But the other music thing I really like is the jingle is good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like the
London Bridge is falling down.
I guess. Yeah. And since today it would be for this podcast, because it comes out on actual Halloween, it'd be like 0 days till Halloween 3. So I love that, and I really did genuinely laugh at the Halloween 3 on your screen. I was like, oh, okay,
fun.
I see
They
what
get
you're
it.
doing. Yeah.
They're also fun masks.
And then we they are great masks. I truly think the masks are great. And I think Halloween 2018 has all 3 masks in it.
Yes, they're on a carousel or something.
Which also messes with your meta thing, because they're from a movie in which they watched the original Halloween.
Oh, shit.
So all of your...
You're right. Yeah. I didn't think about that one.
It all collapses on itself. But we find out that Tom Atkins is married to Nancy Loomis, a.k.a...
They're divorced.
Ex-wife, Nancy Loomis, that's right. Played by the Nancy Loomis, a.k.a. Annie Brackett from the original Halloween, which makes it even weirder when they're watching Halloween. Yes, but it makes it even weirder when they're watching Halloween in this movie, because she's in that movie.
Yeah, but she's the actor thing I'll give you. They're different enough, whatever.
But yeah, she has a very recognizable voice, so it's like, oh, is that? Oh yeah, it is. It's her. It's Annie.
He shows up and gives his kids 2 masks, and they're like, "You're too late!" And they pull out these silver shamrock masks and put them on, and it's like, I guess they'd be popular, but like in universe, literally everyone has one. It's kind of insane that these 3 pretty specific character costumes.
I think this is a symptom of us watching the movie now versus back then, where like I think Halloween stuff, like we think of Halloween as this like
giant industry,
major, and I think back then it was like, I don't know, you got like 6 or 8 mask options at your local drugstore, or your
well, no, I just mean like
whatever department store.
So many people don't wear masks. Most people, like when I handed out Halloween candy last year, there were like, I don't know, 5 to 10 max masks out of the 50 kids we got. So I just like,
oh really? I would say it was more like half plus here. Some sort of mask something or other.
Yeah, no, we didn't have much mask thing going on. I don't remember. Okay. So that's what I mean. Like, it feels like everyone would, like, some dude has the clown costume from Halloween 1 and he just threw a pumpkin on it. This girl's a ballerina and threw a skeleton on her face. And I'm like, yeah. It just feels like you got random costume that like is fine on its own, and then threw a mask on it. Is what I meant.
That is fair. Yeah, no, I get you. But I think it's like it's supposed to be like, 1, it's trendy, and 2, they're just like, because like you see the masks that Tom Atkins brings them, and they're like, well, these suck.
Yeah,
these are very comparatively, these are terrible. But I also like that this is a classic Hollywood marriage. He is 15 years older than her.
And then just wait to see who he bones.
who I'm pretty sure that actress is younger than Nancy Loomis.
That actress is 23.
Okay, so she is much younger than Nancy Loomis.
Yeah, so again, remember I said Tom Atkins is an early 80s, late 40s, so that makes him look about 60. She's an early 80s, early 20s, which makes her look 17.
Yeah, she does look like a child. It's at the point where like you see it's about to go down. I was like, oh man, I forgot this happened.
Yeah, and it's written into the script that she like aggressively wants him.
Yeah, well, she's clearly got daddy issues.
Well,
I mean, I'm not trying to be shitty. It's just like clearly she has some issues with her father. Also, I do think I want to give some credit here. The dynamic of the ex-wife and the kids and Tom Atkins, all of it is so perfect that like sketches out the deadbeat piece of shit this guy
he
is.
Really
which
is.
is why it's insane that he's the hero of the movie and is like running around as Mr.
And like
Hero
the Lothario. No, that's a bad. Lothario is kind of a bad negative. He's like a Casanova in this universe.
Yeah. He's a Casanova. And everybody likes him, and he's like aggressively trying to save the day, but like he sucks.
Also, he's a shitty father and ex-husband.
Yeah. He's clearly shitty to all of them. He's absolutely like no judgment. This isn't like my read on the movie rather than no judgment. He's a full blown alcoholic. Mm-hmm. He is. Just a mess of a person. He's coming to work at a hospital where he is a doctor hungover, and the nurse, when he's like, "Oh, I gotta take a nap," she's like, "Oh, I think it's open in there." He's like, "Well, why don't you come with me?" And she's like, "Oh, you scamp!" And it's like, what the fuck?
What is this James
movie?
Bond universe we're living in?
Yes, yeah. And again, I like Tom Atkins. Would love to talk to him for the podcast. He's still around, still living in Pittsburgh. Last I Googled him, but what is going on here?
Yeah, that's the thing I don't like about this movie. I'm like, Carpenter, you're not that old, are you?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah. Well, this isn't Carpenter.
Didn't he write it?
He might have story or writing credit on it.
Because that was the point that he and Deborah Hill wanted to do this.
Yeah. You may be right. I will check that while we keep talking. I love that so the guy gets away. He runs to the guy from the beginning goes to the gas station for help, and then the gas station attendant ends up bringing him into the hospital. And as soon as the guy wakes up and starts like spouting off nonsense,
they're gonna kill me.
The gas station attendant basically puts his hand up and it's like, I'm done here. And just, he doesn't run out of the movie, but he like power walks out of the movie.
Yeah. Well, it's great because you don't think about that. And he was like, can I go? And I was like, yeah, I guess you could. Like, technically, unless the police wanted a statement, but like, there's no police here. So, like, does the hospital have any authority to be like, don't leave until the police arrive?
I don't think so, no. To answer the question, Carpenter does have writing credit, or it does have some writing credits. I don't think he got like a writing credit, but the actual like credited writer is the director Tommy Lee Wallace, who also directed the It miniseries and Fright Night Part 2
and Annie Brackett's ex-husband.
Yeah, and he edited Halloween and he edited The Fog. He's like a long time Carpenter guy.
Yeah, that's why Tommy is Tommy, and Lindsay Wallace is Lindsay Wallace.
Yep. And Dean Cundy edited this as well. Yeah. So more for the Dean Cundy file.
So yeah, he has to go to the hospital to help this guy. As we said, the gas station attendant is like, I'm done.
He's like, there's a very funny bit of, it feels kind of improvised dialogue between him and Atkins where he's like, it's good that you brought him in. The guy's like, well, my parents always told me to help people when you can help them or something. And then like unless you're
going to get hurt, you should always help people.
Yeah, and then he's like, there's the line, bye. And normally you'd think he'd be like, hey, buddy, you trying to get out of this movie? And the guy's like, hell yeah. Except this is the incredibly rare instance where he doesn't take an Uber out of the movie. He's like, hey, I got an important date to be at the very end of the movie. Can you just drop me off there? Sure, man, no problem.
Drop me off on page 90 of the script.
Exactly.
So this random man with no identification really is brought into the hospital, clutching a Halloween mask, and says they're going to kill me. And they're like, just stick him in a room. Don't take the mask. Don't ask him questions. Yeah. Don't try and wake him up.
Don't even like aggressively observe him either. Just like drop him off in there. It'll be fine.
This like ghost shift hospital, or skeleton crew hospital, I should say.
It really is. Like, I don't know that. I mean, I guess it's not Halloween night, so maybe, whatever. It's 2 a.m. and there's a ghost shift, but you'd think there'd be more people at the hospital.
Well, isn't that what happens in Halloween too? Isn't that the whole crux of Halloween too? That it's like there's 3 people working here?
Yeah, which is bonkers because I feel like Halloween is a night when more injuries are likely to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big drinking night,
Razor blades in the apples?
Sure, yeah. That old fake thing.
Or weed candy?
Yeah, the weed candy. Oh, man.
No one is giving the $75 for 7 gummies to children.
Yeah, literally every year, it's like they do these articles. It's like no one wants to give their drugs away on purpose.
They're so expensive.
So the guy comes, busts into the hospital, and completely rearranges this dude's face, which is really wild.
Well, there's also a weird insert shot of, because I'm gonna call them the Men in Black, even though they're really like the Men in Gray. That's sort of their presence. Yeah. They're like got the sunglasses and the suit, and they're like stoic. Totally. So there's this weird shot after Atkins like flirts with his nurse or PA or whatever she is. There's like a 2-second insert shot of like the Man in Black stepping out of his car and like looking at the hospital, and then it cuts immediately to inside, and I was like, I don't know what we were trying to do there, because you could just show him inside the hospital and we'll figure it out. Like,
right. I think it's supposed to be the sort of like ominous, they're everywhere and they're always watching, but that is also accomplished by just having him in the hospital.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a weird 2-second insert shot that it kind of like breaks the flow of the moment.
Yeah.
So also, why did that we later learn is a cyborg, why did he wear gloves?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Although we do see that they're capable of turning humans into the cyborg, so maybe they're still worried about fingerprints.
Oh, that could be. I would like it would be fun to get an explanation of like who these people everyone who used to live in this town got killed and turned into a cyborg or whatever.
Yeah, that would be way better.
Like so you could have done it with the drunk. Tom Atkins could have run into the drunk and then seen him later. Yep. Like a pod people.
Yeah. Yeah, the drunk honestly is like a character. Pod People's a great example, but he's also kind of like a character out of Escape from New York, where it's like this just like, person who's stuck here sort of situation. He serves a vital purpose of this movie, but honestly, like they could have done more with that character before he died, because he's just doing an exposition dump anyway. Like you might as well make some more, lore in there.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So he like. It's weird because it looks like he should have just like put his fingers in his mouth and like broken. But instead he like puts his fingers in his eyes and then like just kind of squishes.
Yeah. He just
it's a weird
squeezes
choice.
His face. Yes, it is. I mean, it looks awful, like not
painfully
bad,
awful.
but like it's the kind of thing you'd be like, well, that's about the worst thing I could imagine someone doing to my face. So I get it from that perspective, but he follows this up by exiting the hospital.
He wipes his hands on the curtains of blood, and I'm like, well, why? Like, what are we? He also doesn't.
Yeah, what are we doing?
There's
here?
No attempt to get the pumpkin mask, which you would think seems like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the mask produced, but I don't know. Yeah, he like calmly walks outside, and Atkins has to like chase it. We think the nurses are going to die also, because she catches him. She's like, what are you doing in here? And you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. And she doesn't get it. He goes outside. He picks up a can of gasoline and dumps it all over himself.
In his car.
And then sets himself on fire, which immediately explodes.
It's a great fire stunt.
It is a super cool fire stunt. I mean, obviously there's no humans in there, which is
it's good. A dummy, but whatever. And then we cut to Tom Atkins talking to the autopsy tech, who, again, is just, like, falling all over herself to hit on him.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. This is the James Bond universe, when he's James Bond. Like, every woman wants to be with him, and everyone is, like, open to his advances.
So bizarre.
Yeah. This part is wild to me, though, because this is where the daughter shows up, Ellie, and she's in the movie for the rest of the time. She's the one who's, like, Tom Atkins' little
slam piece?
I don't know. Yeah, slam piece. That's the word I was looking for. It's not, but I'll take that.
I was going to say side piece, but he's not married.
Right. Well, he is. It's interesting because very clearly he's sleeping with this coroner lady.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know what their deal is, but like he's definitely sleeping with her as well. But we get this trope of movies and TV, and I guess it might be real, but it just seems so crazy to me that they're like, okay. It's like, I get, if it's one thing, if it's like, hey, we found like your family member passed away, like we have to do you have to identify them, right? Right. And it's like they passed away peacefully in their sleep. right? Or something like that. You know, we whatever. But like this man's face got rearranged. Like he's heinously, grievously injured. Isn't there another way you can confirm the identity? Like he's mangled enough that like the daughter might not be the best person to decide if that's her dad or not.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you could do like fingerprints or
teeth,
but you'd have to like pull a tooth, I guess, right?
Well, you do like a dental impression.
Oh yeah.
Like I think they do, you know, they do dental records.
Wait, they don't just cut the tooth in half like a tree trunk.
It's like count the rings inside. Yeah. But yeah, I just like they're like nope. The best way to solve this problem is to take someone who's grieving and show them the corpse of their family member right in front of them.
He's also talking to his wife or ex-wife, Nancy Loomis, to be like, "Hey, I can't." He's not doing it well. Like the phone call should be, "Hi, someone got murdered in the hospital and then set themselves on fire in the parking lot, and the police are here."
Yeah.
Instantly, that is, here are the stakes. You can't be mad at me.
Yeah.
He's just like, look, I
at the very least, you need to say someone was murdered.
Someone died in the hospital. It's what, oh no, not like that. But like, I can't pick up the kids. Which to me sounds like every Friday night for him when he calls her to
100%.
When he calls her to say, I can't pick up the kids.
Yeah. Listen, Nancy, there's too much going on at the hospital. I can't do it. This
clink, clink, clink.
Again. Yeah. The bunch of, and then what? Come back to bed, doctor. Whatever your name is in the background.
Yeah.
Like you hear her cracking open a beer. You know, it's just like this is every week. This dude's a piece of shit. He sucks.
But of course he doesn't do that. So she's mad at him. And she's like, I'll pick him up Saturday at 10. Also, when the movie started, we got the lower third that said October 23rd.
Yes.
And then the jingle said 8 days to Halloween. Remember that. The jingle will tell you how many days to Halloween. Because the next time we hear the jingle, all of a sudden it says 2 more days to Halloween. And I was like, how many days have passed?
Well, Tom Atkins spent those 6 days on a bender.
With the woman. Like, that's the crazy thing. The woman has come into the movie and grabbed him, and the next time we hear a jingle, it's like 2 days to Halloween, and I was like, I thought it was 8. It's been 6 days?
The two of them went to his sad marble red smoke-filled apartment with just empty beer bottles as far as the eye can see, and he swiped a bunch of empty cans and cigarette butts off his bed, and they went into it for 6 days, and then now they've come out.
So yeah, he goes to the bar instead of to pick up his children.
Yes, it's a great bar.
It's a cool looking bar.
It's a very good bar. Yeah. It's a great dive.
It reminds me.
It honestly kind of. Oh, go ahead.
It reminded me of the dive bar from my college with dollar. I think it was dollar beers or something, and then gig was like, oh, it used to be $0.25, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. But like you could smoke in there, and like no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
It was like the floor was like sticky.
Post-smoke ban. Oh, okay.
It was that kind of place.
It
honestly they had a dusty box of Franzia.
They would pour out of?
If someone ordered wine, there was one dusty box of Franzia.
It honestly reminds me of the bar from Perfect Dark or Near Dark. What's the vampire one? Near Dark?
I think it's Near Dark. The one with Pullman.
The Catherine Bigelow movie. Yeah.
Right, Pullman?
Yeah, Bill Pullman. Yeah.
No, I was like, no, it's not Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman's in Casper.
Bill Paxton.
Yes.
R.I.P. This bar is amazing, and he's drinking, and I think he's got a Boilermaker going, and they're
that's a shot in a beer, right?
And it's very weird cartoons on the TV, and he's like, yeah, put something else on, and he flips to the other channel, of which there are 3, and we get news coverage, right?
Yeah, we get Halloween.
Is that what it is? Halloween, that's right. He's
the commercial for Halloween that pops up in all of my 80s Halloween commercial loops.
Yeah. The local TV promoting the movie they had to air that week ad is a thing that I do have some nostalgia for. Yeah. So it is that, and then the Silver Shamrock promo, and he's like, put something else on, and he flips another channel, and it's a football game, and I'm like, what time of day is it? I thought it was the middle of the night. This isn't the era of ESPN. Like, why is there a football game being broadcast?
Well, this is the commercial that says 2 more days to Halloween, and I was like, wait a minute, has it been 6 days since the guy died?
Yeah.
Oh, and then so the what's her name, Ellie?
Yes.
Ellie shows up and goes, I went to find you at the hospital, and the nurses told me I could find you here. That's not good, buddy. I'm going to say that. That's just not good.
If everyone at work knows where you are and it's this sad bar, you have an alcohol problem and should address it. So they decide, okay, Ellie and Tom Atkins are like, let's go investigate. We're going to drive to the town where these masks are from. We've somehow in the 6 days that they spent in bed together, and then he just like dumped her on the side of the road. That's my headcanon. They were like, oh, maybe the mask had something to do with it. So they drive. It's just
such a weird jump to the mask, and then immediately he's like, well, we'll go to Santa Mira where they make the masks. Why do you know where they make the masks? We cut to him putting a 6-pack of beer on top of a payphone so he can call his wife and say, I can't pick up the kids. I have to go to a doctor's conference. I don't know where it is. Bye.
Yeah.
Your 6-pack of Schlitz and get the hell out of here.
The 6-pack is on top of the thing behind him at that moment.
He puts it up there so we can make the phone call.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked by thinking about poor beleaguered Annie Brackett of just being like, no, sorry, kids, your dad won't be here again
to take you trick-or-treating.
Yeah. But we decide to drive out to the middle of nowhere, but he's a doctor. Like, why is he doing this? Like, there's no part of this that makes any sense whatsoever.
No, also, he is outside of his familial obligations that he shirks. What about the hospital obligations you have, dude?
Right. Presumably you are a doctor with a job.
So as we're pulling up to this town, they're like, it's weird that they have a factory in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, no, that seems like you would want that for the land and the square footage. But he's
like you haven't built factories in major cities in a long time for a number of reasons. Most importantly, it's very expensive to buy land there.
But as they're driving, Atkins is like, founded in blah, 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 blah. Connell Cochran turned Silver Shamrock from a novel. And he's like reading their Wikipedia page. And I was like,
yeah,
where is this information coming from?
I needed a part where it was like on the box of the mask. And it's
like the hang tag.
Yeah, but you open, it's got that hang tag and you open up and the inside is printed like the Dr. Bronner's bottle, like it's size 0.8 font.
It folds out.
Every possible, and like some of it is one direction, some of it is another direction, and then it's like around the part where the hang tag goes.
Those bottles give me anxiety.
Circles. Every time I see one, I'm like, how is it that so many people are like, yeah, I'd like to buy soap from a madman.
From a psychopath.
Yeah, like this is that bottle is like the diary you see murderers have in movies like
Seven,
Silence of the Lambs, or Seven's a great example. Or I just watched Red Dragon, one of the Silence of the Lambs sequels, and it's identical to the murderer's journal. It's just like, why are we all buying soap from this madman?
Yeah, so he somehow knows all this information that he's telling her, and then they like drive around this town, and everyone's like staring at them. And he's like, oh, it's a company town. And I was like, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And then we pull up to the motel.
Well, first we pull up to the factory and they're like, that's the factory. We better get a motel room. And I'm like, but what is your plan? Because this isn't the Hers factory. You don't get to go on a tour of the chip making and then get a hot chip at the end. Like,
here, you have a hot chip right off the line.
Like, what the hell are you planning to do here?
Here's a freshly poured latex mask. Still hot, not painted. Yeah, but the thing that kills me is like we pull up to the motel and the motel owner comes out with this fucking like absurd Irish,
fresh off the boat Irish brogue.
Welcome to our little town. You want to kiss the Blarney Stone? Like, what the fuck is this man doing? In this
movie?
And
Mrs. Doubtfire are related.
Yes, but I'm like, oh, okay. So is like everyone in the town this Irish? And I was waiting for like the Cochran character
should have had a bigger brogue.
100% should be like a little leprechaun man, which is offensive and shitty, but also that's the status of the
Apparently
movie.
he was excited that he got to use a dialect, and I was like, what dialect?
Yeah, Dan O'Hurley, who plays Cochrane, does not have a dialect whatsoever. And I will say, I like him and what he's doing a lot. I think he completely understands what he's doing in this movie and is excellent. I think he might be my favorite piece of the movie, honestly. But everyone who speaks in this town should have the thickest of
It should
roads.
be like Luck of the Irish.
It should be a whole lot of Merida.
That's
That's what we
Scottish.
should be doing. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Oh no. I'm going to get so many tweets.
McDonald's was about to send us a box, and they heard you
And
say
they're
that, and they're like, nope.
He fucked up the guy who can't do an impression to save his life crisscrossed two pretty similar accents.
Oh, don't say that. That's even worse. To say that they're similar accents.
In the context of the
coalition,
in Brave,
the coalition of Scotsmen is gonna be very upset. But yeah, they're also they're like, oh, that's Connell Cochran, and I'm like, everyone who saw this movie probably immediately went, Colonel Cochran?
I thought it was Colonel Cochran until I read the Wikipedia.
Why is no one
afterwards.
in the Tom Atkins being like, Colonel? No, Connell. It's a traditional Irish name. Like,
right?
Lean in, paint with a broader brush a little bit.
Yeah, there's honestly, they are so caricature Irish in this movie that it's genuinely shocking me that there aren't Irish flags and shamrocks everywhere.
Or like
I know
no one's
it's called
eating
Silver
potato
Shamrock.
like a hand fruit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a big plate of steaming corned beef and cabbage.
Yes. So Tom,
I need a scene where Tom Atkins goes to the bar and they trying to give him a Guinness and he's like, ugh, none of that heavy dark shit for me. I need a natural light, please.
I need a natty ice.
Yeah, and some whiskey that you have to crawl under the floor to get to.
So he and Ellie pretend to be married so as not to raise suspicion. Which
I'm like,
you can just be
she looks
dating.
like your, or she could be your daughter.
That too. But this is James Bond Atkinson universe, so his instinct is everyone wants to fuck me. So
we get a very cool Winnebago pull up, but Tom Atkins almost gets killed twice in just rapid succession here. First by a falling bike, and then by what seems to be a drunk woman who's a salesperson driving into this town. As well.
I don't think she's drunk. I think she's mad. I think it's supposed to be she's like a busy businesswoman.
Yes, but I'm just saying her driving of this car makes it seem like she's very drunk.
Yeah, she's about to get a memo that her family's Christmas tree farm needs her to come back. In a small town far away from the big city. So she is a store owner who is coming to place an order for more masks because she doesn't like the phones or whatever. And then it's the Winnebago with the company's top salesman, which why are there salesmen if stores just order their own thing?
I don't think he's their top salesman. I think he's their top seller. I think he's sold the most Silver Shamrock masks. I think he's the store owner who has sold the most masks.
Like a salesman?
No, I think he is unconnected to the company. He just sells their product. It'd be like if to use your Hers metaphor, it'd be like if Hers gave an award to the grocery store that sold the most chips, and that manager got to come to the factory.
The way he talks seems like he's a salesman. That he's like, I talked to Connell Cochran. Well, it feels more salesman-y.
He talks about his store though.
That's true. So I was like, why are there salesmen? And it's like this dude, his wife, who you're like, you have a thing. You were written with a thing in mind and didn't do it. So something's missing from this caricature. And then their shitty little redhead kid who gets his bike and bikes off. And when his mom is like, don't go in the street, he gives her the finger.
Yes. Yeah. This family is so bizarrely written because later on we have a part where they're getting led into what seems like a
murder chamber.
Yeah. And they're all very fine about it, which is odd. And then suddenly she's very upset about it and is nagging. She becomes a nagging wife character.
And then immediately switches to being laughing about it.
Yes, her son is dying in front of her and she's laughing at it. And it's just what is
Well, no,
this
first she's
character
laughing
doing?
at the situation. And then when her son falls over, she's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
But yeah, he gives her the finger, and I was like, good Lord. I called our father a psychopath the other day, and our mom got a little upset about it. Because I referred to the fact that he used to, when he drank Fresca, would take a sip and then swish it in his mouth to kill the bubbles. And I said that was psychopath behavior. Sorry. I don't make the rules.
If I swished a bubbly drink in my mouth, it would make my mouth, like, I would dribble. Like, yeah, well, no, I'm saying, like, my lips would fail to hold a seal and it would come out.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just remember he always did that when he would drink the he was like, yeah, it's too bubbly for me.
That's a very funny, specific thing I don't recall. So we get probably your favorite scene in the movie, which is he comes into the hotel room and she's sitting on the bed and he's like, I guess I'll go sleep in the car. It's be better than the floor in here.
First he goes to he checks out the like office or whatever, and he's like, your dad was here. And she's like, great, let's go investigate. And he's like, well, what if we have a drink instead? Hear me out.
My hands are starting to shake. I have the tremens going. And if I don't take care of this, it's going to be a problem for you, too.
Hear me out. Cracker Schlitz.
I gotta fire off like 5 or 6 darts. So let me get my Marlboro Reds out and then crack a couple of Schlitzes, and then we'll figure out a plan. I just imagine this character when he takes his clothes off, like cigarette ash billows off of him like Pigpen and Peanuts. That he's just like he takes his shirt off and it's just like a rain of ash is left on the floor.
And also like rattling, like cans fall out. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Miraculous, like with no cause of logic. As he like takes off his sweater, like 4 cans come out.
And a whole mess of the pop top rings.
Yeah.
Like every flat surface in his home is covered in pop top rings.
Yeah.
But so he's like, oh, I'll sleep in the car. It'd be better to sleep out on the floor. And she kind of turns to him, and then he says, unless you'd like me to sleep somewhere else. And it's just like,
and she's like,
what is
where
this?
do you? I think you know where I want you to sleep or something. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
She says, where do you want to sleep, doctor? Whatever your name is.
That's what
and
it
then
is.
He kisses her. Yeah.
And then they bone.
Yeah.
And it's gross.
It's not the second time they have sex, the scene is grosser.
Yes. Is this isn't the nipple one, right? The next one's the nipple one?
Yeah, the nipple one made me genuinely uncomfortable watching it.
Then we get Jamie Lee Curtis's voice as the as the Sigourney Weaver voice from
I have Galaxy Quest.
No, I was gonna say Finding Nemo or Finding Dory.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the I have one job on this ship thing.
Yeah, or also it was the voice. She was a voice in Cabin in the Woods before she revealed.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, she is the narrator of or not narrator. She is the announcer voice for the Seattle Aquarium or wherever they are in Finding Dory.
Yeah. So this is the announcement that Santa Mira, the town where this is, has a 6 p.m. curfew.
That's not weird at all.
And Atkins is like, oh shit, I only have 9 beers.
So he has to run out and get alcohol.
He's sprinting for the liquor store.
His character would have a fun time in Pennsylvania.
You know how they've done things with scary Christmas stuff where there's sort of an ominous bell jingle of something approaching, like in Krampus there's the thing with you hear the bell. I'm just imagining Tom Atkins trying to sneak somewhere and it just
clink,
being the clink 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 of all the little nip bottles he has just tucked around his person.
So
just in case
he goes and buys a brown paper bag of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately a man, maybe a vagrant, walks up and says, "Hey, buddy, can I have a sip of that?" What?
No.
and Tom Atkins is like, "Sure, buddy." And it's like, what universe is this?
The only universe in which someone approaches me and is like, "Can I have a sip of what you're drinking?" And I'm like, okay, is if they have a cup and I can pour from several inches above said cup into it. And I'm not even a germaphobe, but this is a complete stranger.
A complete stranger says, "Can I drink your brown bag of alcohol, please?"
You can smell this guy through your television set.
So he does, and then he gives a bit of exposition dump, like Cochran wouldn't hire, anyone from the town, which is a weird thing that doesn't really get resolved or explain anything.
Right.
It's
so much more interesting if it's what you said is as soon as they hire you to work at that place, you're changed. You don't come back the same.
Mm-hmm.
Much more.
I guess if they did that, they would just sort of be making a an Invasion of the Body Snatchers movie plus Stonehenge.
So
I don't know.
Like we're ripping off shit left and right here. What's it matter?
So he like leaves and goes to his little like school bus in a dump house. And he gets got by the men in black. And there's this like
the one in particular who attacks him and literally rips his head off looks a lot like Anthony Hopkins, I think.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
But it's this like weird cartoony ass sound effect when they rip his head off. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
it's like
I did. A rare misstep for Halloween 3. No, not really.
And so like the next thing is they're talking about how, you know, bulk buying in person for your store is just seems like such a foreign concept.
Well, it seems to me this lady is like, I keep trying to get stuff. They keep kind of blowing me off. And I do wonder if it was like, it should have been better established, but like maybe she's out of range of the TV commercials or something.
You mean the movie didn't tell you that?
Yes. But the part of this that I like the best is Ellie is walking to get something from the vending machine. I think that's what she's doing. And this sales lady is sitting in her car. And when Ellie gets in front of her car, she just slams on the horn, which like I would shit my pants if somebody did that to me.
Yeah.
Like, not a joke. It would just be the end. And then Ellie, like, of course, is very startled. And then the lady sticks her head out and she's like, oh, I didn't mean to scare you.
Yes, you did.
Huh?
What else did you mean to do?
That was the definition of what you just did. What are you talking about?
And then she's talking about the masks and the company. And she's like, oh, I have a store in San Francisco. Come look me up. And I'm like, oh, that's a weird thing to say to it. Literally, you haven't had a real conversation with this woman.
Yeah. Like I said, I do think that that's supposed to be it, but it just is never explained whatsoever in the movie.
Yeah. Well, later she dies, and it's like, what happens to her store? I guess they send a robot back.
Yeah, they probably do. And then the robots can't speak, which seems like a problem for the human replacement thing.
It does, yeah. So Tom Atkins talks to his lady friend from the autopsy room, and she's like, someone made a mistake and we were autopsying a car. There were no human parts. And it's like,
Yeah.
And then we see, not Lori, Ellie in the shower, gets out of the shower, wraps a towel around herself for 5 seconds, and then immediately wraps the comforter around herself. And it's like,
yeah,
then you can sleep outside now. You just ruined, ruined this comforter.
Yeah. Like, I understand the sentiment of like, oh, it's cold. Let me get back in the bed. It's nice.
Dry off
there.
first.
You gotta dry off.
Monster.
You've ruined the bed. Yes, 100%. But then they immediately like they go from this like cold and shivering thing. Don't they cut right to like she's in
Atkins
lingerie?
walks in with a beer, shockingly.
Shocking that he has a
with
beer.
a case of beer or whatever, or a 6-pack. And he says something, and then she like steps up she's like, ooh, and like does like a little shoulder step out of her out of the comforter, and she's wearing like negligee all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she is like aggressively into this man.
Yeah.
His fucking crypt keeper ass, and she's like, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna bone all night. We're gonna bone, and then you're gonna try and go to sleep, and I'm gonna try it again, and you're gonna say, aren't you a little tired? Like, this universe is the men have to be like, you're not a little bit tired? No. You know what? It's after 3 o'clock, which means you've had dinner, and now you're going to bed.
Drink your Metamucil.
Yeah.
This scene features the most aggressive nipple play I've ever seen in a movie, and it made me so uncomfortable to be watching this.
It looks like he's nursing.
Yes. Like you see the skin of this woman's chest get pulled tight. It's so ridiculous that it's in the movie. I felt so bad for everybody involved in this, honestly.
Really wanted to do it. She read the script and thought, she was like, I loved Ellie. And I'm like, what? What part of Ellie did you love?
I mean,
I guess in 1982 there wasn't a lot of like, you weren't getting Adventures in Babysitting, so.
Right. So like whatever, like I'm glad to hear that this actress wasn't like coerced into this on the day. That's truly nice to hear. But it's just like, this is the best.
No, it was not Hello Mary Lou.
Yeah. It's like and to be clear, as I've said before, like there should be more nudity and sex in movies. It's just like this particular way that it's shot is yucky.
Yeah. And more men. Make it even.
I couldn't believe, speaking of Red Dragon, which I just watched, Ralph Fiennes totally naked. You see the dick, you see his butt, you see everything.
No way.
Yeah.
You see Voldemort's, you see the Volta dick?
Yeah, I mean, you see most of where it ends versus
you see a little neck?
No, you see the top of the tower, as it were. But you just, he's like running naked and you see it.
Oh, okay. Is he the killer in that one?
I mean, yes, but that's not like, it's a spoiler.
That he is a spoiler that he's the killer?
I mean, you don't know that right away. It's all. I mean, if you've watched a movie before, it's obvious.
It's Ray Fiennes, and he sort of like only does that.
Yeah.
So earlier, what happened when I keep saying Ellie was talking to the single woman who was here to get her order for masks. She was like, my kid was smacking it around, and what did she say? The symbol, the something, like it's like it looks like a giant coin.
Signet. Yeah, it's like it's
2
really
inch.
bad.
It's a 2-inch diameter circle.
Yeah, it's like the size of a coaster. It's really bad.
It's impractical. And she's like, it fell right off, and it's like, oh, this is gonna mean something, and so it's like classic.
Marge, by the way, is this character's name.
Oh, thank you. Like classic 80s technology science magic. Like it is a plastic disc with a single microchip on the back that's not connected, like no wires connecting to anything.
Right.
But so like it's a microchip though, so it's something bad.
Yeah. It's nefarious because it's computers.
And so she flips it over and she sees it as she's sitting in bed, and it's like the chip's like inset into the disc, and her instinct is like, let me pop this out. So she pulls out a bobby pin and tries to like finagle the microchip out for some reason. And it shoots a laser into her mouth.
This part actually kind of rules, especially the horrifying
the effect is great.
Mask is of her after with her face, because she's still alive. So like the actress is like still twitching and clearly dying in the worst way possible. But the eyes are like literal red, not like bloodshot, but actually red, like every capillary burst. It's really nasty and gnarly looking. And
then bugs start crawling, because that's what we learn. Like part of it is it makes bugs happen inside you. So I don't.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Not just bugs, also snakes. It's like
rattlesnakes.
It's like it's like they're recreating the Plagues of Ireland thing. Like it's just bonkers.
Well, I think snakes in Ireland was didn't mean snakes. We'll say it that way. The snakes that were getting cleared out of Ireland were not slithering on the ground. They were people.
Ah, okay. Wait, the thing with the guy, like they say like some Irish St.Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland.
The snakes.
That's a racist thing. I'm learning this literally at this moment.
That's what I heard.
Wow.
That's what I've heard.
Wow. Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard, that it is a racist thing. I don't know that
I learned.
I don't know what race it's racist against, but
I always took that at face value. It was just like, oh yeah, like this is like, I didn't know that the caricature that we use in movies of a gypsy was like real people.
Oh yeah, the Romani people.
But like I didn't know that because there's not really much Romani culture in the United States. But like I was in college, and like I learned that fact and was just like, wait, what? No, they're like witches in movies, and they're like, no, that's like a racist caricature of people. And I was like, no, it's like witches in movies, and it's like, no, it's not. It's like I had no idea.
They're Romani travelers.
Like I just right. Like I know that now, but I just like that never read as racist to me because I thought it was a. I thought it was a
spooky fortune teller in a movie.
Right, exactly. I was like, yeah, like you got your Frankensteins, you got your Mummy, you got your spooky fortune teller lady, like you got your witch, you got your Dracula. And like, no, that one of those is very racist.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about human culture is that you learn eventually some things are just terrible. And as she gets killed as they're boning, and so that's a fun little break in that moment that. She's you're riding cowboy, and and she's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Who cares?"
I'm almost there. Yeah, and lighting a Marlboro while he's inside her.
he's got one corner of his mouth is on her nipple, the other corner's got the cigarette.
Yes, she has like ash in her armpit,
and then he's like, "Why don't you just pour the beer on my eyeball? It'll go directly into my bloodstream."
Tom Atkins invented butt.
My mouth is a little busy right now.
He poured it in my butt.
So they later, like a few hours later, they see her get wheeled into like a company van, and he's like, "I'm a doctor. Where are you taking her?" And he's like, "Oh, we're taking her to the factory, to the health facilities." And it's like, "Oh, right. Companies just like had that." I like forgot that was a thing until
I mean, they had like air quotes doctor.
No, like, I mean, our parents worked for DuPont, who was like, you know, part of ended up, I don't know if it was them, but like they had hospitals. Because Dad was saying once, he was like, "Yeah, I didn't feel good, so I went to the I don't know, he said doctor or like medical floor or something." He like used a phrase that wasn't like, I was like, "What, like the school nurse?" And Mom was like, "No, like it was like a full medical suite. Like you could get anything you needed there." And I was like,
"Yeah,
that's insane to me."
Yeah, so that does make sense at a company like DuPont, but I think this is more like when a miner broke a finger and they're like, "Hey, yeah, go see the doc," and the guy just has a bone saw and like a pint of whiskey that he hands the guy, and it's like, "I'll take care of that, no problem. Get you right back to work."
Probably. So they go to the factory the next day, and they're like trying to learn more about her father. He's like, and the woman at the front desk is like, "No, your father picked up that order. But if you lost it, we can get more for you." And so like they're in a lobby on the guest side of the front desk. And then on the other side of the front desk where all the people, like the workers are. However, in the like guest side of the lobby, there are like decorative shelves with like weird statues. And then what looks like a pharmacy's worth of pill bottles. Did you notice that?
I didn't. It's like very, very weird.
Large bottles with screw tops.
Huh.
That look like, it looks like when you look at behind the counter at the pharmacy, and it's like all the giant bottles that are like weirdly labeled. I was like, what are these bottles at this place?
That's super strange. Yeah, I don't know. This is where, so Cochran showed up the night before and talked to Atkins a little bit, and he's here again, and he's like showing that family around, and then he's like, "I'll give you a free order to make up for the fact that you lost it," and all the people start applauding, and it's so unsettling. Like we keep mentioning Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This feels very Body Snatchers-y.
Yeah, that everyone's like, "Thank you, you're so kind."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "All right, family of sellers, come with me on the tour." And then he's like, "Well, how about my friend here?" And I'm like, "That's a bold invite, mister.
Yeah.
You're taking a chance on a man you don't know."
Yeah, for sure.
And so he's like, "Of course we can invite them on the tour." And then like, it seems decently accurate for latex mask making.
I actually think this is the coolest part. I think this is actually just a mask manufacturing thing. Like, this is probably the actual props from the movie that they manufactured.
Yeah.
Because they had to make a lot of these masks. You wouldn't just make one mold, and you'd make 10, you know?
Yeah. And so it's like, you pour the latex in, you swirl it around, you dump out the excess, so you let it set, and then you do it again and again. It's just like, I was like, oh, it's accurate. It's not like a magic machine that like...
Yeah.
And so we get to this weird, like...
It's way cheaper to just be like, hey, we're just going to shoot all the VFX part. Like, this is probably, like, half these people are probably VFX interns.
Oh, I'm sure. So then we go to this, like, creepy bunker filled with, like, novelty toys. Like, back in the day when it was, like, you wind it up and it just looks like a crowd watching a bear on a unicycle. And you're like, that's my toy.
Yeah. The play value of this is 8 seconds.
It's probably around the same time period people were getting, like, a clementine and 2 pennies for Christmas. So, like...
Right.
It's that era.
I just feel like if this toy cost a dime and you could get like a bucket of toy soldiers for the same dime, like way better play out of the toy soldiers.
Probably. But then Atkins.
Although I guess in an era without TV, people probably just watch this shit for hours.
Oh yeah, but like again, you're watching the same thing back and forth for hours.
Oh, look at the bear. Oh, look at the bear. Oh, look at the bear.
Thank God none of them made music.
Yeah.
But Atkins is like confused by all this, and then the salesman is like, "Don't you know? He made his fortunes in gags. He invented sticky toilet paper." And I was like, he invented what?
Yeah, I was like, what? I guess the idea is like you pull off the roll and you can't get it off your fingers.
I was like, I've never, like, what happened like fake vomit or like a bug in an ice cube?
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted bug in the ice cube.
Joy buzzer.
Yeah.
Or the rattlesnake eggs. That's always a fun one.
Yeah, very simple with just a rubber band too, so that's fun.
That's what Five Below used to be, was that kind of bullshit. No one remembers that before they became the like mega thing they are now. It used to be like extendable fork and rattlesnake eggs.
Yeah, novelty nonsense.
And now it's not. So one of their shitty little redhead kid is like, I want a mask. And he like goes to take one, and Cochrane's like, that one hasn't been through final processing. Take this one instead. And immediately the salesman guy is like, what does that mean? What's the final processing mean? And Cochrane's like, hey, buddy, shut up.
Stop asking questions. On with the tour.
And there's like a whole like room that says final processing on it. And then Atkins like
with no handles, by the way.
Yeah, not a good sign.
You can't open the door. Yeah.
And then Atkins notices that there's like, rather than security cameras, there's just like a legion of men in black standing around immobile, staring.
Yeah, he gets like thoroughly creeped out because they keep like appearing in different places. Like around every corner, there's another guy.
Yeah, and now
as this is happening,
but he's also like now figured out, okay, final processing is a thing. I can reach it without getting inside the building. Yeah. Hey, honey, let's go.
But as they're leaving, she spots her dad's car and is like, hey, that's my dad's car. And she runs to it and gets cut off by, I don't know, 20 of these guys. And the family is looking on and they can't see where she's going. But Colonel Cochrane's like, trade secrets. And they're like, you scamp.
Reagan. So yeah, obviously like a dummy, she can't get to the car. So they go back to the hotel and she's like, I'm leaving. We need to leave now. Something is wrong. Yeah. And he's like, all right, I have to go make a phone call. So he has a phone conversation with Jamie Lee Curtis where she tells him, I can't make your call. And then she gets got, Ellie. God damn it. Not Lori.
Wrong Halloween.
And because he comes back in the room and he sees that she's gone. And then there's like a wall of men in black outside. And he has to like jump out the window.
Yeah, which like there's not enough attention paid to the fact that he shattered 5 or 6 small glass bottles in his pocket on his way out the window, and now it's just cut all up.
Oh yeah.
Also, I wanted the scene where he's like running away and then he starts doing like a smoker cough, just like dying in the ditch somewhere.
So he sneaks over to the factory and breaks in, and he discovers this like creepy robot granny.
Yeah, and this part is so strange to me because like he's seen this town as weird, which like I mean I guess there's varying degrees of it, but he thinks this is a actual granny who's just knitting in the dark. Basically, it's just
in a windowless room in a locked factory.
Right, she's just rocking her chair and knitting, and it's like, come on, man! Like obviously that's not a person.
Yeah, we need you to think here, buddy. And then he gets grabbed by a guy from the shadows, and they fight, and then they have orange juice concentrate blood.
Yeah, and he's able to just punch through the stomach, which is very odd to me.
Yeah, this is a weird, like, old white man fantasy movie. Like, all the women want to fuck me, and I'm super strong. And also, I'm always drinking.
And always smoking a dart. Yeah, and like... He beats this guy up and kills him, like disables him by pulling some wires out of his guts, and then he has like a thick layer of jello on his hand, and 2 other goons show up with Cochrane and grab him, and instead of like continuing to fight, it's like, I just watched you destroy this thing. Like, you're not that strong or smart or good at punching, it seems. Like, just keep punching.
Yeah, and then Cochrane is holding the head of the granny, and he goes, this is a from Germany from 1785, and I was like, what?
No, it isn't. No, I'm sorry, it isn't.
I was like, a robot from 1785? Then it should be wooden. Like wooden gears.
Well, they I mean, they did have, wind up, mechanical man and stuff, but this granny is like way too advanced to be.
But that was more like the 1900s. That wasn't 17 in the 1780s.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I think the wind up mechanical man was more like a 1900s.
I think that's more like 1800s.
Either way.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that it is now Halloween, I think. On the bottom of the screen, it finally says Halloween, and I was like, we needed more of these, because It's been unclear what date it is.
I think time has been slipping all over the place.
Yeah,
I guess
slipping.
Of this movie, well, the POV of this movie is that of an alcoholic man, so maybe that's just like accurate.
That's fair. And so he says, Conal Cochran is like, Stonehenge was for sacrificing. And I was like, I don't think we know that.
We don't, but that's the theory some people have.
Yeah.
I do like the part where they like lead him into the final processing room, and the two goons have Atkins like one on either arm, and this is after Cochran is kind of monologued a little bit, and Cochran stops. There's this awesome like very high up shot, Dean Cundy, awesome high shot from high shot of Cochran, who just like stops and takes this big deep breath, like real scenery chewing, mustache twirling, deep breath villain kind of move, and then just is like, and keeps strolling into the factory. It's like he's like the dawn of Halloween has made him so delighted. It's really good performance thing.
Yeah. Also, like, the more he talks, the less everything makes sense to a 2022 audience.
Oh yeah.
Like in 1982, no one knew shit about computers.
Right.
In 2022, what?
Yeah.
He's like, look, I take a piece of Stonehenge and I stick it in this coin, and now it's a microchip inside a coin. And it's like, well, no, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not how that happens.
It's like if you were using the thing to make microchips, I could give that to you.
Yeah, I was like, is it supposed to be a piece of Stonehenge in the microchip in it, or is there's a microchip in the coin, and then you put Stonehenge, like crumble some Stonehenge on top?
I think the Stonehenge is part of the chip making.
It is wildly unclear.
Yeah.
And so this is where that family, the salesman family, as we alluded to earlier, gets led to the murder chamber.
Yeah, this part is like just completely incomprehensible. Like
it's the gray metal walls.
Yes.
And a couch, like a normal living room setup, but gray metal walls, and then curtains with no fake window. Put a picture there.
Right. She opens the curtain and it reveals nothing but more wall. At that point, I'm screaming.
Oh, at that point, I'm like,
we're all going to die.
Can I use the bathroom? Sorry, real quick.
I got to pee so bad. Yeah. And the salesman has been told he needs to like review some commercials for like, they want his input because he's such a good salesman on it.
Yeah.
Or seller of the masks. And then their kid, who's like a real shit the whole time, as we've seen. It's like, they almost want to make it so you don't feel bad.
I think that's what they did.
But the kid dies in such a horrific way that I still am like, ugh, no one should go like this.
It's bold to kill a child. I think this is like one of the only one of the only Halloween movies where they kill a kid.
I think that's well. I mean, Halloween Ends kills a kid pretty graphically.
A kid?
Yeah, he knocks him down the staircase.
Oh, you're right.
He falls
unintentionally though. There's no intentional child killing in the Halloween franchise other than this, I think. But yeah, so basically what happens is the plan is all the kids have been told to wear your Halloween mask in front of the TV at 9 so you can, win the giveaway, which
yes.
I don't know what the fuck
doesn't make
why
a lot
was
of
the
sense.
What does the mask have to do with anything?
Right.
Also, someone on the internet pointed out that like why are the scientists still making chips right now?
Like
it's Halloween now.
It's not just it's Halloween now. Like they're making chips as this commercial is beginning to
and
air,
it's like
basically.
How are they going to get any like are you gonna give away at the factory door? Like what you have boxes of these masks that are useless now.
Yes.
But the plan is all the kids are going to wear the Halloween masks in front of the TV. The commercial is going to play and it's going to do a flashing pumpkin that's going to activate the Stonehenge microchip in the mask, and it's going to kill the kids, but then also fill their body with bugs and snakes.
Yes.
And like, I promise you it won't make any more sense if I say it again.
Right. Nor will it make sense if you watch the movie where Cochran is like, I'll give you a demonstration. And we watch the commercial come on and the family trapped in the room. This happens to the kid. He starts screaming. He falls down. His face looks like it's melting. And then it's just all these crickets and then just an oodle of snakes.
A lot of snakes.
And those animals the snakes end up killing the parents. Or she might just faint.
She faints and then die. I guess assumed that she, does that. But like, so his plan is I'm going to actively kill the children and then hope their parents are around to then get killed by the snakes that are produced by the...
That sure seems like the extent of it, yes.
It's the dumbest plan.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Because even later, he's like, why are you doing this? He's like, do I need a reason? And I'm like, well, no. Like, you can, if you're going to do, like, I don't need a reason, then do that. But then he's like, on Samhain, we used to sacrifice children. And I was like, I've done, like, a decent amount of research on Samhain in my days, and I don't remember ever hearing about child sacrifice on Samhain.
Yeah, I must have missed that day of the Halloween lessons because I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, animal sacrifice have always been part of that, but like I've never heard them like, and they sacrificed children.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's sort of what he's trying to, put the Christ back in Christmas, as it were.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Put the Samhain back in Halloween.
Put the child murdering back in Halloween. It's Samhain. Don't be a plebe.
Well, then it should be spelled with a W.
The Irish language does not follow any rules.
Well,
Gaelic is even crazier.
We should also talk about the coroner lady who Tom Atkins is on the side with, getting absolutely wrecked by one of these monster aliens, and then drill through her ear. Yeah, sorry.
Well.
Stonehenge robot.
The crazy thing about it is, so she's an autopsy technician or what, like a medical person.
She works in the morgue,
and so it's assumed that she's medical because she's like, oh, it's car parts, whatever. And then she finds like one of the weird weighty part in like a wind-up toy, and she's like, she tries to reach Tom Atkins and can't. Calls someone else. Like, I need you to look at this, and he says, I'll come over tomorrow. As we were watching the man in the back, like the robot in the background, like grabbing the shit, the like drill. And then all of a sudden, she like looks at one piece. It's like, this is all ash. It's like blackened ash, like mechanical parts.
Yeah.
And then she like looks at something, and there's a realization on her face. And she looks at something else, and she's like, and I was like, are you a mechanical engineer too? Like, what the fuck did you just learn? Because the movie doesn't tell us what you learned. I don't know what you just figured out.
Right. It's like what her reaction here should be. She catches a reflection of the guy.
Exactly.
And I almost wonder if this is just like like there was an inset shot that didn't work and they just didn't use it.
No, that could be, because it feels like she like puts the puzzle together, and I'm like, huh?
Because like I'm watching this movie and I've seen it before, and I still barely put the robot thing together. That she would do it. I'm like, well, I don't know. And
then she gets, even though these robots are strong enough to rip faces off, he's like, I have to drill this one.
Yeah. So he does this big monologue like you alluded to, and they strap Atkins to. Oh,
and we get there's a quick montage of children wearing the masks, like we said earlier, of kids who are like
yes,
just wearing the mask with a random costume, and then we see his kids we like are reminded that Atkins' kids have the mask.
Yeah. And so they strap Atkins to a chair, and they leave him in this cell, and they put a mask on him, or I guess he's on like a gurney, Hannibal Lecter style.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
And they put a skeleton mask on him, and he like is watching this commercial.
He's watching Halloween. First, we get they make us watch a lot of Halloween, and I was like, don't do the Jaws thing.
Well, it's like you're bringing in Laurie's theme for this movie. Like all this is accomplishing is that now I get to listen to Laurie's theme, and I'm just like, come on. But he smashes the TV, gets a piece of glass, cuts his wrist free, gets the mask off his head, and then while still more or less tied to this thing, does this perfect underhanded wrist flip. And it's like, the bottle thing that people would like take a water bottle that has like, a third full, and you throw it and it does a thing and lands on it lands right side up. It's like fun, fairly fun to do and kind of cool to watch. He does that with this mask. It does like a perfect flip and lands over the camera. It's completely ludicrous.
He's such a Mary Sue.
Yeah, he really is. But so he pulls a John McClane, he rips the thing down, starts crawling through the air vents.
And then all of a sudden he's running around outside, and I was like, I guess it's a good thing Cochran decided not to have any robot guards tonight for some reason.
Yeah, only on the inside for whatever reason. He gets to a phone and he's like whisper calling Annie Brackett, being like, you can't let the kids wear the masks. And she's like, just because I bought it for him. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Just shut up and listen to me. And it's just like, this is the call she gets every Saturday.
The best is also like, he goes, so Do you have the name written down for the family? The salesman family?
No.
So we'll say their name. John Smith is the man.
Yeah.
He on the phone to his wife goes, "No, they gotta take off the mask. You don't get it. They killed John Smith. They put John Smith and his family in a room." And I'm like, she doesn't know who that is, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
This sounds like drunk rambling.
I know. I was like, this is the call he makes every Saturday night where he's like, "You're poisoning the kids against me. It's all, they don't like me anymore."
Oh no, I'm picturing he's like trying to write a novel. And she gets his drunk like, and then they have to take the yellow brick road all the way down, and that's how they're gonna get the SpaghettiOs. That was more high than drunk, but whatever.
And she's like, "You're drunk," and he's like, I'm not drunk. The masks." And it's like, look, you're calling on an insane lark here, right? Like but the thing you need to say in short words is those masks have poison in them.
Yeah.
Or
those
something
masks are
like
poisonous.
That. Yeah. It's like the material is poisonous. We just got some people in the hospital. They're having a horrible reaction. You got to get the kids
Or if it's not like, hey, those masks actually came from Russia. Boom.
Yeah,
Boom.
Yeah,
suddenly all those masks are shredded.
But instead she's like, "Yeah, all right, you drunk asshole," click.
And he tries to call her again, but has to like hang up because the guards are coming.
Yeah. So he goes to save Ellie, and he gets her free, and then he gets like a whole box of the buttons.
It's the most like video game sneaking bullshit of like, the guards have a very specific scope, and you can stand literally at the edge of that scope and they won't see you, even though they're like facing you.
Yeah.
He's wiggling around. He's like, he has an entire rack of masks that he's like walking behind like a fucking Scooby-Doo cartoon. And then he crawls, all the scientists are like facing away. So he's like, I can crawl in the middle of them and turn on the commercial and no one's going to turn around to the control booth.
Yeah. And he, of course, like he, as you said, he's a Mary Sue. He knows exactly what buttons to press.
Well, he did
on
watch
this
them do that.
Comprehensible keyboard. Oh, okay.
He did what they queued up the commercial
he
for.
He did train. I'm sorry. He did train
to kill the family.
My comments
because it's 666.
Oh, very clever.
And so the commercial turns on, and all the robot people are confused. And then he runs away. Cochran sees him. Cochran watches him pick up a box of chips and go up into the rafters, and doesn't say anything. He just stares at him. And I was like, buddy, tell your men to leave. Like, do something.
Yeah, and this like ring of blue light encircles them, and then another laser blast comes, so they all get wrecked. And Cochran does this like slow clap, like, I'm impressed by you, even though, like you said, he watched, like he could have prevented this or run away himself at any moment.
It's so insane.
And he ends up getting sucked into the vortex or whatever this is.
I don't know what the fuck happens to Cochran, because like I said, the computer does a ring of light, the Stonehenge block lights up, zaps him, he turns into stone, I think, and then just disappears, and then the warehouse catches fire. It's like...
we get some big, like, Star Wars-esque spark explosions, and then they're running away from the factory as it's burning and exploding, and it's a very cool, like, matte painting extension and whatever, but it's just inexplicable that this is how this ends.
And then this is the point where I realized, like, is the giveaway 9 a.m. Pacific or Eastern? Because Disney Channel used to say it was 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
It's the other way?
That's what I was saying to you before. I think this is a local thing.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Central is earlier, by the way. If that
6:30, 7:30, 6:30 Central? Or no, the other way.
Yes. 7 on the East Coast is 6 o'clock Central.
And then it's 5 on the other coast? It's earlier?
Yeah.
Yes, so you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah. I was like, yes.
No, yeah, because London is farther. I remember now.
Right. There's Central, there's Mountain, and there's West Coast.
Pacific.
No. Yes.
Pacific, Central, Eastern. There's only 3.
I thought there's Mountain Time somewhere in there.
I think that's just when you have a Coors Light.
I don't care, and I want to keep talking about the movie, so I'm going to let that go because that was a good joke. We're moving on.
Thank you. The mountains are blue.
This part where we learn that Ellie is an android really drives me crazy because, like, this is like a common wrestling trope where somebody will like turn on their teammates, but only after they helped them win a match. And it's like, oh, actually I'm aligned with the other team. So they are celebrating together, and then one of them like beats up the other two. And it's like, well, why did you lose? And it's like, Ellie helped him beat the team. Like, why did you do that? You helped him. That's so stupid.
And she also like is that the lady from is it the first Austin Powers or the second one who won't die? I think it's the second one.
Yes. Yeah, it's like he kills her and then her arm is still alive and the arm is choking him and then he has to kill the arm.
And then the headless body shows up. It's like, why won't you die?
He's doing a real like Ash Williams sequence here. He is. It's just so stupid.
And so he's like, he runs to the gas station and the guy's like, don't I know you? And essentially all I could think of, because he's all of a sudden he's on the phone and I'm like, who did he call? It's like, hello, the media? I need you to stop commercials.
I think he called the station or like the he somehow got the number for like the distribution of the TV signal because he's on the phone. By the way, this whole end part is so stupid. Like, first of all, it's inexplicable that he would have the ability to make this phone call, but throw that in the trash. Why are these kids trick-or-treating at the gas station?
At the dump.
Via automobile.
At the
one of them
is old enough to
gas
drive. Station.
Yes, and the old enough to drive kid pulls up in a mask, gets out, and is like, trick or treat with his two friends. And then Atkins is like desperately leaving, like, you have to kill the commercial. It's going to kill the kids. And it's like, do you have proof? No, you just have to believe me. Well, I'm not going to do that then because I'll get fired.
Yeah, but so the commercial turns off. And it's like technical difficulties. And then the little witch who's watching the TV clicks the knob to the next station, and it's like, burp, 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 burp. Oh, we have technical difficulties. And then she's like, click. It feels very like Bob's Burgers of like,
yes,
they keep trying to save you, and you keep doing the thing.
Yes,
and then,
but it's just supposed to let us know that he hasn't saved the day yet.
We don't know. Yeah, so it's the third station. He's like, there's still the third station. Come on, you got to turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. And it like fades to black.
Yes.
It originally ended with like a symphony of children's screams, which I like this ending better.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Because like it could still be the death ending. We don't know, but like I think conclusively making it like children's screams and death. Like,
I mean, it's definitely a bunch of dead kids BT'd up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's the end. It's like freeze frame on Atkins, and we're screaming for help. You know, I guess final thoughts and would you recommend this?
Yeah, I think here's the thing. Don't go into it thinking of it as like a capital H Halloween trademark franchise movie. It's a weird, silly little science magic early 80s movie.
Yeah, there's some stuff that I like about this movie, but even at 100 minutes, it's 20 minutes too long. It's too long. To me. And it's just like, it's so like slow and methodical when it works is incredible. And for me, this is the bad kind of that, where it's like, it just takes forever to get going. I do like what Atkins is doing. I do like the absurdity of this movie. Like I kind of softened on it. I don't think this movie sucks, which is what we said for a long time, but I just don't, it's like, there's a very specific person for whom this movie is going to work. And you've probably seen it already. If you are that person.
That's fair.
If you think you're that person and you haven't, then obviously, go check her out. But it's an odd duck of a movie, and the Halloween that you're totally right that it would be mostly forgotten if not for the Halloween thing.
Mm-hmm. It's currently on Peacock. I don't know. It's Halloween today if you're listening to this when it comes out. So I don't know if it's still there. But
you are probably running up against that clock. It is probably the stroke of midnight. It's over would be my guess.
Although no, it's Universal. This is Universal.
Yeah, but it is expiring soon, so I don't know if that will actually go away. But they, sometimes they do that, and then it doesn't actually go away. But that has been the super spooktacular this year with three episodes. It's a lot of fun. Next month will be the first ever edition of Candied Yams, and I don't know if we'll always do all candy all November, but for this year at least, it will be 2 John Candy movies. So we're gonna kick things off with one of our family classics, The Great Outdoors. Everybody's got these movies that are like beloved in their family. So tweet at us and let us know what are some of your family classics. Like this is one, this and Summer Rental, excuse me, where the John Candy movies our parents loved. And so we just,
and then Uncle Buck was the like occasional. It was those two for sure. And then occasionally Uncle Buck slipped into rotation.
Yeah. Which almost, I haven't watched it in a long time, but like almost certainly is the best of those movies.
Probably.
Right? Like from a technical standpoint.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that, and it'll be no more Tea Thanksgiving. We retired that, but Candied Yams is our new friend, so we're excited to do a lot of John Candy movies. It's just a good excuse to do them, which we haven't had before. So we'll be doing that in 2 weeks. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Send us a tweet at Dissect the 80s. Let us know your family faves.
Retweet the McDonald's tweet.
Yeah, retweet the McDonald's tweet, and then hashtag family faves. Tell us what your family loved. Don't forget to rate the show if you haven't done that yet. If you're listening to it, that really helps a lot. So wherever you rate it, wherever you get it, please rate the show. And if it's not Apple Podcasts, send us a screenshot and we'll read that on the air. If you do use Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you do, please follow us or subscribe or whatever term they use to make sure you get the episodes every week. And you can find us at dissectingthe80s.com too, if you want to find out more stuff there. But most importantly, if you want more Dissecting the 80s, visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. At the $5 tier, you get like 30 hours of bonus content and a bunch more coming in December. We've got a bonus episode and the Christmas Cemetery coming down the pike here very shortly. We have not, so I can't tease it because we have not picked it. But
VeggieTales was discussed.
VeggieTales was discussed. We will figure out something for the Christmas Cemetery. I gotta be honest with you. I don't know if I have it in me to watch a VeggieTales episode at age nearly 36, but maybe. That doesn't seem fun to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
We'll watch a Larry Boy one. They're the fun ones.
But anyway, go check out patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. You get a custom RSS feed when you sign up, so you can keep using your favorite podcatcher app, and you don't have to use, something you don't like. It's not like those Spotify exclusive shows. You get stuck using Spotify if you don't like it. So go check that out, patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. Help support the show. Thank you so much for listening. I have been Tripp Leno.
I will always be Andrew Leno.
Until next time.
Unpleasant dreams.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production. Ow.